Welcome to Junk Monkey Live, Season 3, Episode 5. Take a second here to say hello to everybody in the chat. Tina with Lake Exchange was the first one in tonight, at least in the chat. Ping G came in right after that. And Christopher Nutter's here. Hey, welcome, everybody. Now, y'all know that I always try to have a talking point of some kind. And a lot of times I never make it to it because we get to visiting and talking in the chat and I get sidetracked and I just never get to the talking point. But tonight I've got a doozy for you. I had one heck of a day yesterday and I was hot under the collar. eBay stuck it to me. Now, I know a lot of you guys follow me on Instagram and you guys saw where I sold a Rolex watch a week or so back. And when you sell Rolex watches, they normally go to the authenticators. The authenticators have them for 1 or 2, maybe as long as 3 days, depending on their workload. They authenticate the watch, they put it in a box, and they ship it off to the buyer. And this is a good thing because they check and make sure that the watch is genuine. It's a real Rolex. And that it matches the description that the seller described it as. And once that happens and it leaves there, there's no sending it back. So you're pretty well protected, but you're not really. What happened to me was something that people have been afraid of ever since they introduced so-called third-party authentication with eBay. It is not third party. Let me get these headphones off. So it goes to a facility owned and operated by eBay employees in Ohio. And they have the ability to tap into your account and do whatever they want. So I sent the Rolex, and yesterday I got a notice that said the Rolex had not passed authentication. They were going to send it back to me and my funds were on hold due to the dial was aftermarket. Y'all, I about flipped my wig. So I got on the phone with eBay and the first person I got a hold of, I said, look, it says right in my description that is a custom dial. It's not third party. It's not aftermarket. It's custom. It's a genuine dial that's had diamonds added to it. And I absolutely put it in the description. And they're like, oh, you're right. So they immediately released the hold on my funds and then said, hang on, we're going to call the authenticators and see what in the world they were thinking. Well, we get the authenticators on the line and they started beating around the bush. They started saying, well, this and that. And I'm like, no, that is not the reason that you said. The reason you chose was that it did not have, that it has an aftermarket dial and that was not in the description. I said, it's absolutely in the description. It's absolutely not an aftermarket dial. It is a genuine dial that's had diamonds added to it. They're like, it's a custom dial. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly how I described it. It is a custom dial. She said, well, hold on just a minute and let me check something. Oh, you didn't check the customized box and the item specifics. And then they immediately reinstated the hold on my money. And within 2 hours, they took all my money that I had with eBay that I hadn't transferred to my bank yet. And then they hit my bank account for an additional $2,271, which my bank then marked as fraud and froze my assets. So, yeah, I've been in touch with, been watching YouTube reseller content for probably 3 years now. I've been in a lot of different lives, watched a lot of different how-tos, and I cannot name a single reselling YouTuber who has said that item specifics matter. They all say the same thing. Fill out the ones they force you to fill out and forget about the rest of them. That is patently false. Even if you put it in your actual description, you are not covered unless you put it in those items. If there is a way to put it in those item specifics, you need to do that. Now, it was a $3,000 hit or right at a $3,000 hit. Now, I've often said that if your business isn't strong enough to take a hit, you need to do something about that. Your business absolutely needs to be strong enough to take that kind of hit. And luckily mine is. And I'll get that watch back by the end of the week, and I'll have it resold within another week. So it's not really that big of a hit for me. It just unplanned and uncalled for. They messed up. They admitted they messed up, but then refused to do right by me on it. They found a reason to weasel out of it. So yeah, those item specifics are absolutely important. Just because you put something in the item description, that does not cover you if there's a way to put it in the specifics. So, yeah, you want to talk about hot. I was hot. I was livid. Yeah, and I don't deal in jewelry very much online. There are too many cheap promotional grade overseas dealers out there that are just pumping thousands of items online. And your average jewelry consumer cannot tell the difference between a $20 hollow piece of crap and a $10,000 designer piece of jewelry. They don't care. If they want that kind of jewelry, they'll go to a jewelry store and get it, which is why I don't deal in jewelry. So yeah, those item specifics apparently are extremely important. Business accounts for eBay. I kind of do and I kind of don't. It's this same account, but it's split into savings and checking. And I always set money aside. Now, I've touched on this briefly here and there, but my business model, how I handle my money, is every time I get a payout, whether it's from eBay or Poshmark or from my watch repair business or anything else along the way, I put 75% of that payout into savings. And after I pay my bills every month, I put everything in savings that's left over and leave myself $200, and I start over fresh every month. Now, most months I have to reach into those savings and pull some out to cover bills, and then I have to even pull my 200 out to start over. And it sounds like it's not sustainable. And in the early days, it's really not. I had to, in the first year or so that I was doing that, I had to reach into those savings every single month. However, as time went on, at the end of every month, there was a little bit more left over in those savings. And eventually it got to the point where I didn't have to reach into those savings. But, it's not like this was a $13 pair of shoes I found at eBay and sold for $200. And I even, I wouldn't have took that big a hit. No, this was a Rolex watch, and I had well over $1,000 into it out of pocket. So hopefully it makes it back here, because eBay already got their money. And you can believe that if for some reason that package gets lost or doesn't make it back here, I'm just out. Yes, the watch is on its way back to me. They sent me both a FedEx and a UPS tracking number. And what that means is they sent it out of their facility via FedEx. And once FedEx gets it close to me, they'll turn it over to UPS, and UPS will bring it to me. Not UPS, USPS, which I don't care for that too much. But then again, I absolutely cannot stand FedEx home delivery. They are just about the absolute worst delivery people out there. What a lot of people don't know about it is that FedEx home delivery is not actually FedEx. They wear the uniforms and they drive the trucks and they handle the packages, but they are actually independent contractors, and you don't get the same reliability and the same accountability as you do with regular FedEx. Now, FedEx home delivery absolutely sucks, but FedEx business to business is still the best way to go. But as a reseller online, you're not getting FedEx business to business. You are getting FedEx home delivery, and it is terrible. All right, Tina. Yeah, I know I should have a completely separate account. And Lord, when this hit, you don't know how bad I wanted to call the bank and shut my account down so they couldn't take that money back. And they would have shut my eBay account down. But I'm going to tell you, I was mad enough to do it for them. But yeah, they absolutely screwed up. They know they did. And what it was is some young authenticator took the watch that I sold out of the box and looked at it and said, "Oh, that dial's not real," and went from there. He never opened the page up. He never read my description, anything. He just went, and they claim they contacted the buyer. And I told him, said, "Listen, it was right there in the item description. Buyer knew that the dial was custom." Yeah, Tina, I know I should have all of that. It's just I haven't done it yet. And I need to. I really do. I need to go open a separate bank account. I've been looking for a new bank anyway. The bank that I do business with, I'm not all that happy with them. And at one time I did go and get another account at another bank. They had some big sign up bonus where they'd give you $200 to come open an account. And I did that. And then after a year, they were going to start charging me, I forget what it was, $20, $30 a month if I didn't have a minimum balance of $500 at all times. Every time I go below $500, they would charge me a $25 fee. And I'm like, no. Woo, Junk Monkey got paid. Let's see what just sold. Get a sip of water. Y'all, it's spring here in Southern Oregon, and whatever started blooming today is killing my sinuses. My eyes are all red and puffy. What did we sell? Well, we sold a $5 VHS tape, Nightmare Before Christmas. I get those VHS tapes for about 10 cents a piece. So every once in a while I see one, I'll grab it. Excuse me. Woo! Dad gum, these sinuses are messing me up. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I'm with U.S. Bank right now, and I'll be honest, I'm not overly happy with them. I'm thinking I'm going to go back to a credit union, but the only credit union we have in my area is a local credit union. They're not very big, so I need to go talk to them. Hey, I'm looking at my other computer screen. Now on StreamYard, it looks like I'm in focus and everything, but when I turn and look at my other screen, it looks like it's a little fuzzy. You guys tell me how I look on your end. If I'm going to continue doing these live shows, I'm thinking about investing in a better setup for doing them. I'm just using the built-in camera on my laptop. Yeah, Tina. Well, they're all insured, FDIC insured. You may hit a rough spot until FDIC gets it figured out and gets you taken care of. But TD Bank, NA on West Coast. Christopher, I'm not sure what that means, brother. Y'all, excuse me for just a second. I am going to mute this for just a second. I apologize for that. Yeah, when I still lived in Texas, I had Gulf Credit Union, and I loved doing business with them. But when I moved away from Texas, it was extremely difficult doing my banking business, especially back then. Um, because at the time, I was the kind of person that when it came to my money, I wanted to be face to face with somebody. That way, if something went wrong, I could walk in there, grab a manager, and say, "That person right there screwed me up. You need to fix it." But these days, we've gone so digital that I can't remember the last time I actually went in the bank, other than going through the drive-through to pay my mortgage. But yeah, I really do miss being with a credit union. It's easier to do business with them. It's usually easier to get a loan when you need it. So yeah, I really need to go and take care of that. Now, I don't know if you guys can tell from the background, I've been on my soapbox, but I'm coming along, getting things a little further along, getting stuff moved out of here, getting things organized a little better. Just ordered another shoe rack. Here lately, I've been able to pick up a few more shoes. So I need a second rack. I had a big wooden rack that just didn't fit in here anywhere and didn't hold that many shoes per shelf. And it was really more my way than anything else. So I ordered another one from Amazon. I've got it still in the box. Tonight after the show, I'll probably put it together and get it set up in its spot. Ooh. Let's see. I've got a stack of clothes behind me, behind those boots you can see over my shoulder there. I got right there. I got a jacket hanging up. I got to get it listed. I don't know if I can turn this thing far enough, but that little spot of white over there is a uniform top, scrub top, new with tags that I picked up at the bins yesterday or day before. I got it. I steamed it last night before I called it quits, and I got to get it listed. I want to tell you guys, finding anything white clothing wise at the bins. Hey, Brett, how are you? But finding anything white at the bins before you leave the bins, really check them over, because sometimes they have stains that absolutely do not come out. Case in point, that white scrub top over there, that 2 out of the 5 pieces I picked up new with tags had stains that won't come out. And it's kind of my own fault, because I went back in to see another picker that was still in there. And they did a rotation while I was in there talking to him. So I grabbed a little bag of some sort and just stuffed a bunch of stuff in it and bought it and brought it home. I've been feeling like Tim Osborne the Thrift lately. A lot of larger electronics. I even picked up a rainbow canister vacuum. And I've sold a couple of pieces of it, including the biggest piece, the motor. I've got to get that packed up tonight. You know, normally when you have a bad return, it slows you way down. They throttle you back. There's no doubt in my mind that when you have open returns, they throttle you back. But today I've had really good sales and quite a few of them. So at least they didn't throttle me back. In fact, it almost feels like the first person that I talked to at eBay yesterday is on my side. They just can't say it, but they may have flipped a switch for me or something and helped me make some sales. Brett, you may want to go back to the beginning of this one at a later time and watch the beginning of it, because I climbed up on my soapbox. eBay did me pretty dirty. And it was it was right at $3,000 hit that I took. Tina, is that a reel-to-reel movie projector? I'll tell you, I've been doing pretty good with the slide projectors, the Kodak carousel slide projectors. And I learned that from Tim Osborne. Well, Brett, it's inconvenient and it's aggravating. No, it was infuriating. It was not aggravating. I was furious. But I'm going to handle it. it's just another day in the life of a reseller. I just happen to be one of those guys that deals in every once in a while and some really high end stuff. And a single little hiccup anywhere along the line can be disastrous. But at least I'm getting the watch back. Whoever that authenticator was that failed to read my description of the watch, that person really and truly needs to be fired. The manager stuck up for her employer, which I guess is good for her, but it cost me a lot of money. Brett, it always will be. If you're in business and you're selling things, you're going to hit things like this. You're going to get returns. And when you're dealing through a third party, like a reseller's platform such as eBay or Poshmark, they're going to force it on you whether you want it or not. The key to it is building a business that is strong enough to withstand such things. But one of the other things they told me, those item specifics, I didn't click on the customized box. Put it in the description. I just didn't click on that in the item specifics. But what they did tell me is if you click customized in item specifics, it will not go to the authenticators. And really and truly, I don't know how I feel about that, because then you open yourself up to fraud, somebody doing a fraudulent return because it didn't go through the authenticators. What it really means for me, if I'm going to continue to sell Rolex watches, instead of just fixing up what I have when they come in with the aftermarket parts on them or the customized parts, is I'm going to have to take those parts off the watch, spend even more money buying original parts and putting the watch back to factory original before I sell them, which is probably how I'm going to start doing it, which means the people who sell me watches are going to start getting even lower offers, because I normally buy them when they need repair. So I offer pretty low because it's a pretty huge risk. This particular watch, it was missing a few links and the crystal was shattered. Watch was not running. So I only paid $500 for it, but I put an additional $600 or $700 into it, getting it up and running and back together. To have replaced that dial with a factory original, all factory original, unmodified dial would have cost me an additional $300 to $500. And by that time, there wasn't going to be a whole lot of profit left in it. I mean, $1,000 worth of profit seems like a lot, but when you have to put $2,000 in to make $1,000, that's a lot of money to be throwing out there all at once. I like having a little higher margin even at those numbers. Whew. Man, I have only been on here a little over 20 minutes, and it feels like I've been talking for an hour. So another thing that I wanted to tell everybody is we're going to move Junk Monkey Live to Monday nights. And here's why. We all used to watch Joey Bada Bing on Monday nights. It was my favorite show of the week. But Joey has stepped away from doing the lives. I have not spoken to him to figure out why or what. Hey, Mama Beth, how are you? But it's left a vacuum for Monday nights. The only reason I didn't do Monday nights to begin with is because that was Joey's night, and I didn't want to interfere with that. But if Joey's not going to take it, Junk Monkey is. So I'll be on this coming Monday. Season 3, episode 6 will be on Monday night, and it'll still be, I think we'll do it at 6 instead of 6:30. Nice even number. Swamp Pickers here. How are you, brother? Ooh, y'all missed on me all my ranting and raving. Right now we're talking about moving Junk Monkey Live to Monday nights, and it'll be 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's PST. So you guys will have to look that up. And Mondays just work out better for me. This last week, I didn't do a show. I know a lot of you hit me up on Instagram, and I'm fine. I was fine that day. It's just I'm working 2 jobs. and I work from whenever I get up in the morning till well past midnight every night. So occasionally that catches up with me. I burn the candle at both ends, so to speak, and every once in a while it catches up with me. And last week it caught up to me. I walked my dogs. I had about an hour to get ready for the show. I sat down in my recliner. The next thing I know, I woke up and it was after 11 o'clock at night. Crazy Maze Stash, how are you? Thank you for coming in. But yeah, guys, if you didn't catch the first 20 minutes of this show, you're going to want to go back and rewatch that. There's some, aside from my ranting and raving and being mad at eBay, there's some information in there that might benefit you. Yeah, you guys mark it down, and I'll try to get on Instagram and shoot out a reel or make a post or something and put the word out that Junk Monkey's moving to Monday night. Oh, yep, Noelle is a good one. I like Noelle. I was a guest on her show here a while back talking about old watches, which is my forte. But I know a little bit about a lot of stuff, but I know a lot about watches. I'm watching two screens here, and then meanwhile, I'm trying to think of something new to say. You know, Brent, I do believe I remember seeing you on Noelle's channel. But yeah, man, I can't believe they got me on a technicality like that. They took my money away, gave it back, and then immediately snatched it right back away from me. So yeah, like I said before, every single YouTuber out there, Cat the Nurse Flipper, Joey Bada Bing, Tim, every one of them that's ever talked about item specifics, and every time I've seen the question brought up, it's always been just fill out the ones that they force you to, the required ones, and don't worry about the rest of them. Well, the rest of them, there's an old saying, the devil is in the details. You know, Brent, my head is full of useless information. Every once in a while, a little bit of it comes in useful. I've always been a researcher. When something interests me, I can go down a rabbit hole and not come back for quite a while. I've done a little bit of everything. I've moved around the world. My dad was in the Navy. I was in the Navy, so I've traveled a lot and I've done a lot. Sometimes just for a little while, and other things have stuck around, like the working on watches and jewelry and gemstones. But my grandparents on both sides, my grandfather on my mom's side was a hoarder. He came through the Great Depression and 2 world wars. So if it was useful, he kept it, and he knew how to do everything. I mean, the man could sew and get done sewing a patch on a pair of overalls and then put them on and go out and rebuild a tractor. So I learned a lot from him, but he had every tool you can imagine, every piece of equipment. He had stuff piled up all over his 10 acres. And as a kid growing up, man, that place was like a wonderland to me. Now, my grandparents on my dad's side, they were pickers, dump pickers at that. We'd go down old dirt roads and find where people would throw their trash, because a lot of areas didn't even have a dump. And if they did, they charge you. And people were like, I'm not paying somebody to take my garbage. I'll just go down this old dirt road and dump it in the creek or dump it in the woods. And we'd go dig through those dump piles. And about once a month, sometimes twice a month, we would have a huge yard sale at my grandparents' place. And my grandmother there was a glass collector. She liked collectible glass. So I know a little bit about collectible glass. I am no crazy lamp lady, though. I don't have, that woman's got more knowledge about glass in her little finger than I got in my whole body. Brent, what it might be is Microsoft sent out a huge update on everybody's computers today. I have 3 computers that I work out of. I have a home office. I have my office out here in the shop, and then I've got an office at my watch repair shop. And all three computers had to be restarted and upgraded before they would start working right again. I'm betting you don't need to defrag. I think you just need to restart your computer and allow it to update. Unless you're on a Mac, then I have no idea. I have something. I need to go find a box. I get on Amazon, which is where I get the vast majority of my shipping boxes. But I have an item that needs a 20 to 22 by 14 to 16 by 10 to 12, a large box. And I can't find boxes less than $50 on Amazon. And you don't get very many for $50. And I don't need boxes that big very often. Normally when I do need a big box, I just go to U-Haul or to Home Depot and buy a moving box. But this particular one, they don't sell a moving box that will fit it. And what it is a Wagner Ware roasting pan. One of these things, I've got the lid on it upside down, just so I can take measurements. But these things, these are good money, you guys. They sell anywhere from about $125 to $150, but you have to be careful when you buy one. You need to make sure that the pan sits flat and doesn't rock and spin. That's called a spinner. If it does that, don't do it. Don't get it. It needs to have the trivet on the inside. Last but certainly not least, one of the most important things about those pots, those roasting pans, the lid has to fit snugly. If that lid doesn't fit snugly, it means either the lid's been dropped or the pan's been dropped and it's warped. Do not buy that. That is a heck of a return, because when they return it and you have to pay the return label, you don't get that shipping discount. You pay full retail shipping to get one of those shipped back, and it is not cheap to ship one of those. I don't know if I got the new Windows or if I'm still on Windows 10. I think I upgraded to the new Windows. But other than that big update today, I don't have that bigger problem. Tina, did you find your box? Coco and Chewy, hey guys, how are you? Coco, you guys may want to, at your convenience, go back and watch the first half hour or so of this show. Well, I've only been on half an hour. So first 15, 20 minutes of the show, I climbed up on my soapbox and I blasted eBay, but there's probably some information in all my ranting and raving there that you might find useful. Now, I'm not telling everybody when it comes to those item specifics to go in and fill out every single one on every single item. However, if you have a fairly high dollar item, I would highly suggest you fill out every single item specific for no other reason than to cover your keister. Doesn't matter if you put it in the physical description that you type out in the description box. It has to be in those item specifics. Yeah. You know, I don't get that many ads. I don't let them. There's a thing and there's a part in there every time it does an update where it asks you if you want this or if you want that. Or I turn notifications off. I turn ads off, and I don't get that many of them. Some of them still make it through, but I usually don't get that many of them. What kills me is this round of them, the stuff that I have pinned to my bar across the bottom of the computer. They got rid of my Google Chrome because it's Google. It's not Microsoft. So, and then they try to force making MSN, whatever Windows, what do they call it? I got it down here. Internet Express, Microsoft Edge now. They try to force that on to me as my number one browser, and I don't use it. I switched to Chrome years ago, and unless Chrome really screws up, I'm not going back to Microsoft for their browsing. Those assholes spy on me enough. Oh yeah, well, it didn't delete Chrome from my computer. It just deleted the shortcut on my pinned bar, work bar. I don't even remember what it's called. Little bar across the task bar, whatever it's called. Y'all, I'm tech tarded. I don't know my way around computers that much. Duck, duck, go. Yeah. Like I said, in the early days, there were a lot of internet browsers out there, and one of my favorite search engines back in the day was called Dogpile. And what it did is it reached out to all the other search engines and web browsers and searched all of them and gave you the results from all of them. So I used Dogpile quite a bit. And even earlier before that, I used Yahoo. Ping, it might be, but I'm pretty sure it's called the taskbar on my computer. Pin to task. Yeah, it's taskbar. System tray. Okay. So the thing where your volume and your internet connection and all of that stuff down on the bottom right, that's your tray. But the rest of that is your taskbar and your search thing. No, that's not a taskbar. That's just shortcuts to your web pages that you like to go to. The taskbar, Variety Flipper. Hey, man, how are you? Brother, if you get a chance, go back and watch the first 15, 20 minutes of this live show because there's probably some pretty good information in there for you. Tina I'm in the same boat, Tina. I got to go find a box for that big roasting pan so I can get it listed. I don't like to list things until I know I have a box I can put it in. At one time, I had big boxes, and I guess I worked through all of them. Brett, I'd love to do that, but I don't know how to find my start menu. Yeah, I still had the icon on my desktop, so all I did was right click on it and clicked on add to taskbar, and it put it right back. This morning I was well, Brett, I may reach out to you because there's all kind of stuff I need to know how to do. A long time ago, before we had apps, when you would actually download programs, I could work around that. I knew how to defrag and do system maintenance and how to literally delete something completely off the computer, including the trash and everything. And like if you downloaded something, a program, and you found out you didn't like it, most people didn't know that getting rid of the icon on your desktop does not get rid of the program. But back then, I'd do system maintenance once a week, get rid of stuff I didn't like, empty my. Yeah, it actually would, but like I said, I've got my taskbar set back up the way I like it, so I don't really need that at the moment. I don't suppose you know how to edit video because I can't figure it out. And some of the YouTubers are out there. I'm like, if that idiot can do it, I have to be able to do it. But I get started on it, and every time I've tried to learn how to edit film, just as I get into where I can take two clips and put them together to make one longer clip, I get an update, and then they change how it works, and it drives me insane. Yeah, Brent, it's ever since we went to online apps instead of actual programs that you download and you own, everything has changed. And quite honestly, I'm getting to where I'm an old dog that don't want to learn new tricks. Start menu, bottom left. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's the. Huh. Why do I have Alexa on my computer? Bang and Olufsen. I've got all kind of crap on this computer that I don't need. Dropbox, promotion, Energy Star, Excel. I guess my wife uses Excel. Feedback. See, once upon a time, you could go through the list of programs on your computer, and the ones you didn't use, you could get rid of them and free up space on your computer. So make your computer faster or be able to store more files. Yeah, this app thing, it's on one hand, I can see where it's an advancement in the technology of it. Whereas instead of every single person out there with a computer having to update their computer, which we still do any damn way, they can just update the app in their servers and everybody gets it and it doesn't. But on the other hand, I think they're kind of misusing most apps. Most apps are used for tracking you in some way and data mining for metadata. Oh, don't get me started on Geek Squad. Geek Squad better not ever pull into my driveway. You know, to go into a Best Buy with a computer or anything that you bought from there, and you walk over to Geek Squad with that item that you need help with, they absolutely will not help you. They want you to make an appointment. Meanwhile, they're all standing around with the finger up their nose or other orifices. And if you're standing in line holding that thing, they will come out, walk right past you, and ask if anybody in the line has an appointment or if they need help with this or that, but they will walk right past you. The last time I tried to get help at Geek Squad, I almost went to jail. Yeah, Christopher, I get minor ones, but today there was a big one that they needed to shut my computer all the way down and restart it to get the actually 3 computers I had to shut down. I sound like I work from 3 different computers. You'd think I'd know something about computers. The newest one I have is my laptop, and it's probably a year and a half, 2 years old. My other 2 computers are probably about 5 years old, but I bought top of the line when I bought them, which they probably nowhere near top of the line these days. These days, to get top of the line, you have to buy like a gaming computer. I don't want a gaming computer. I prefer a PC over a laptop. And I prefer working from a PC rather than from my phone. My phone is great for looking up sold comps or keeping track of stuff. But when I'm actually working, I'm sitting right here at this desktop. I'll create my drafts and take my pictures with my phone and then save it for later. And then I'll get on the computer and polish everything up. Yeah. My daughter has big gaming computer. The problem I have with gaming computers is they put a lot of effort into how it looks with the clear panel glass sides and the neon lights and flashing and blinking. I don't need all that crap. I just need a computer tower in it with the processor, motherboard, and memory and cooling system in it that works. Yeah, now I do. I pay up for good security, and I stay on top of that. And I run my anytime my computer slows down even a little bit or acts funny even at all, I'll update my security and do a complete system scan. And they do my computer. I click one button and it supposedly does all my system maintenance for me. And it's been that way for me for the last 5, 6 years, which is why I no longer know how to do all that stuff. Yep, Brett, you say that. And you'd think a guy that knows how to take a Rolex apart and put it back together would be able to handle something like that. But if it's got electricity flowing through it in any shape, form, or fashion, it's pretty. What's the word I'm looking for here? I get high anxiety when I mess with stuff like that, especially my computer. Um, yeah, and so I prefer somebody with experience and actual know-how mess with my computers. Huh. Yeah, I imagine, but still. And the next one I get probably will be a custom built job, but I'll take it. I'll go to the place that my daughter, anytime she needs something done to her computer, she goes there. They have a very clean, well organized operation set up over there, and they're pretty quick. She normally drops her computer off in the morning, and I pick it up in the afternoon for. Hell, I used to work for an internet service provider. And that's back in the day when dial up was all there was. So I used to help people set their dial up internet services up on their computers. Swamp Picker, I can fix a $1 million watch, but I can't fix a $500-600 computer. I actually got brave the other night and took a DVD VCR combo unit apart, then put it right back together, and I sold it for parts. You see, I understand mechanical theory. I know if this spring over here puts power through this set of gears and makes it to this little dugmaflachi over here called the escapement, I know what it's doing. I know what it's supposed to be doing. So if it's not doing something right, I can trace it back and I can figure out precisely what's wrong. But when it's got programs and chips and electricity flowing through it, it completely confuses me. I think my laptop was probably $500 or $600 on sale. My other two computers were a bit more than that. I think one of them, the older of the two, was probably somewhere in the $1,200 range. And then my third computer, which is actually a gaming computer that I inherited from my daughter, that thing was close to $3,000, and it's a piece of freaking junk. I can set a computer up. I can plug the monitor in. I can plug the keyboard in. I can plug dongles in for wireless stuff. I can do that stuff. But when you take that shell off there and you got all those little cards and memory boards, and yeah, I'm not messing with that stuff. I think my oldest computer may have started out with 7, but it may have been 8 if there was such a thing. but it had the biggest processor and the largest memory available at the time. If it's got topographical lines on it and compass directions on it, I can read a map. I can read a blueprint and build a submarine or an oil rig. But when you talk about electronics, that's schematics, and those are different. There's symbols on there that I have no idea what they mean. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think my other two PCs are that old, Tina. They're probably 2015 though, one of them, and the other one is 2016, 2017. My laptop is actually an HP, what is this, Envy? It's got the i7 in it with Iris graphics by Intel. I don't know. Quite honestly, I don't even know where the on-off button for it is. I honestly don't. I have no idea where the on-off button for this thing is. It just stays on. All right, Crazy Maze Stash, thank you for coming in. I appreciate you being here tonight. Hey, on your way out, hit that thumbs up button for me if you don't mind. I'm not monetized or anything, but one of these days I might be. Let's check on eBay real quick. But when I got that first person on at eBay customer service and they told me I was right and they released my money, I was happy. I wish they would have left it at that. But no, they wanted to get to the bottom of the problem and they called the authenticators, and that's one thing that's got bad. Let's send out an offer. You guys ever have somebody contact you and ask you to hold an item for 5, 6, 7, 10 days, something like ridiculous like that? I get that fairly often, once or twice a month. And my normal answer is I'd like to, but eBay handles all my payments for me. And the maximum they'll allow an item to hold is 4 days, after which they will automatically cancel the order and red flag your account for non-payment. And that's my normal go-to way of saying no. And I had somebody do that to me this past week, and they contacted, and I gave them my regular spiel, and they're like, wait, so if I accept your offer tomorrow, then I'll have 4 days to pay for it? And I'm like, yeah. Okay, well, I'll do that. And I'm like, oh, Lord, I'm never going to get paid for this thing. Of course, it's a brand new account, too. They got like 16 feedbacks. I'm like, okay. And I was this close to blocking them after that message back and forth between them. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to block them. And sure enough, the guy did the next day. He accepted my offer, which is 10% off or something, on an old watch. And today was the fourth day, and he contacted me this morning. He says, hey, man, I just wanted you to know I haven't forgot about you. As soon as my money hits in the bank today, I will be paying for my item before 8:30. Oh, okay, no worries. I'm like, he's no way in hell he's going to pay for this thing. It'll get canceled, and I'll have to go back and re-promote it. But sure enough, he paid me. So every once in a while, things work out. So hopefully I'll get his watch packed up for him tonight. And when he gets it, then in 3 or 4 days, he'll be extremely happy with it. And hopefully it'll give him years of good service. You know, the last time I thought I forgot my password, by the time I figured it out, I had already reset my computer back to factory. What had happened is I'd gotten one of those automatic updates in the middle of the night, and it completely shut my computer off and turned it back on. And I have two separate um, passwords. One is just to turn the system on. And then the second one gets you into, because it had multiple users and each user had their own password. So it had done that. And what it had also done is turn my cap locks off, or my number locks off. So when I'm punching in the number, nothing was actually going in, and it was driving me insane. So I reset the computer back to factory, created a new password and everything. And it didn't dawn on to me until I was already in the middle of all that what it was the damn numbers lock button. And yeah, that was a mess. Cool. So now whenever I type it in and it doesn't work, the first thing I check is my cap locks on? I think I lost probably 3/4 of a day dealing with that, thinking I had forgotten my password. And that's another reason why I like Google Chrome, is I can pull Google Chrome up and it has all my stuff on it. And I just put it right back on the computer, and it's got everything on there that I normally work with already. It's like, I guess that's Google Chrome being an app sort of is a good thing. Hey, Brian, how are you? Oh, yeah, I do remember you. You did work at a jewelry store, and you do a little bit of work on quartz watches, batteries and crystals and things of that nature. That is a big truth. I don't have as many problems with the watches as I do with the customers who own them, which is why come October, my plan is to retire from working on watches for customers. I've been doing it for 35 years and I have had enough. Yep, number locks. By the way, Brian, my name is Rob. Junk Monk is just my online handle. Early on, somebody told me that if I was going to do reselling and Instagram and social media and all this stuff, I should have the same handle across the board on all of them. And so Junk Monkey it is. I follow, for my own entertainment and to get my head out of reselling from time to time, I have YouTube channels that I follow. I've got like a metal detecting channel that I follow. I've got a gold prospector that I follow, the opal guys down in Australia, and I have a shoe repair guy, and this guy is a master cobbler. And I watch him, and today it dawned on me that he's a master of his craft. I'm a master of my craft, and he makes videos of himself repairing shoes that look like they either came from the dump or they need to go to the dump. And it dawned on me, if he has the same thoughts that I do, there are times when I get watches in that have obviously been completely mistreated. Whoever owned them does not take care of them, doesn't even know how to take care of them. And if I work on it for them, they're just going to tear it up again. Then they're going to blame me. And that happens a lot, especially in the watch and jewelry industry. If you repair watches or jewelry and the customer doesn't know how to take care of a watch or a piece of jewelry, they're going to tear it up again, and they're going to expect you to fix it again for free, and they're going to badmouth you. And I wondered if he has the same problem with shoes, because, man, some of the shoes he gets in, I'm serious, they look like they need to go in the dump. And I'm pretty good at refurbishing old boots and shoes, dress shoes. and making them look fairly good. But this guy literally completely overhauls them. And the stuff that he can save is amazing. His name is Beto's Leather Works here on YouTube. If you guys get a chance, go check his channel out. It's kind of entertaining, and it'll get your head out of reselling once in a while. Yeah, Keith, I knew that, but I couldn't remember it. It's like Swamp Picker. I'm pretty sure his name is Glenn, but I never say that because I'm always afraid I'm wrong. But yeah, there are times when somebody brings me a watch that I can tell that it is so mistreated that I refuse to work on it. And sometimes it's not even about the money. It's the fact that I don't want to deal with it. Glenn. Oh boy. I am terrible with names, y'all. I really am. You've been at it a while then, Brian. I actually started out on eBay as a super niche auction eBayer. That's all I did. I auctioned watches that I would fix up, a couple of dozen of them a year. On a good year, it'd be about a dozen a month. But for 20 some odd years, that's all I did. Every once in a while, I throw a little something else on there just because I had it. But it never clicked on me about reselling in general. I didn't know people were doing it. And I don't know why, because I'd be at I love yard selling and thrift store shopping. I always have. It's, part of growing up as parents that are hoarders or grandparents that are hoarders and grandparents that are pickers. And it just never clicked. And then not long before the COVID thing happened, I was going down one of those rabbit holes, and that's where I found the shoe repair people. And I was looking up leather work because I've done a little bit of leather work, but I was looking up specifically how to make my own watch bands, watch straps. And they kept showing me these eBay things about, thrifting shoes and because it's part of the leather repair was the shoe repair. And people were, one of the shoe repair guys, he does is he goes to thrift stores, buys shoes, refurbishes them and sells them online. I'm like, ain't nobody buying no used shoes online. And so I'm like, let me test this out. So I went and bought it. First thing I bought to resell as a reseller was a pair of Red Wing work boots, and they were in really good shape. Everybody else had them listed for $100. I listed mine for $50 and sold them in an hour. And then all of a sudden, YouTube the algorithm just starts dumping reseller channels on me. So I started watching a few of them, and I'm like, there's no way people are buying this crap. And I'm like, well, let me test it out. It worked with the boots. And so I'd go buy a water filter or anything really that I'd see in one of these YouTube videos. I'd go buy it, I'd bring it home, list it, and lo and behold, it would sell. And back then I was still just doing it from my account. I didn't have a store. So it didn't take me long to know that this is awesome. And then the pandemic hit. Everything shut down except thrift stores. My job didn't shut down, but we shut down to the public because we had enough backlog work and we could continue to work. And then people would come to the door and we'd deliver things to the door from them, but they couldn't come in. And we cut our hours way back. And to this day, we still haven't reverted back to our original hours. But it got to the point where I was making more money as a reseller than I am a Rolex watchmaker. And over this past 3 years, I have come to the conclusion if I can make more money reselling, being my own boss and not having to put up with customers, although we have to put up with, buyers on eBay, they're nowhere near as bad as watch repair customers. And not that I have that many watch repair customers that are bad, but we get these customers in that bring in the most god-awful junk, and they want me to work miracles for them, and they don't understand that I can, it's not like going down to O'Reilly's and getting a car part. I've got watches on my workbench that I've had for 2 and 3 years trying to find parts for them because they're that rare. And here's one of the reasons why I hate that word. Rare does not equal valuable. Turtle turds are rare. You don't see people lining up to buy them, do you? But seriously, a lot of watches are rare because they were junk when they were new, and they have not improved with age. And it didn't take them long having to warranty repair them that they realized that their watch didn't work, so they stopped making it. And you add 50 years onto that, 60 years, 70 years, 100 years, and those watches that they only made for 1 year, the parts for them are not easy to come by. Case in point, I just got in yesterday a parts movement for a watch that I've had for 2 years, and it's an Omega. That was a funny one, wasn't it, Glenn? I break that one out every once in a while. Now, Brian, the most important part of watch and or jewelry repair is this: the final polish. I don't care how good you are at setting diamonds or sizing rings, if you can't polish that thing correctly, the customer may not even know what they're looking at, but they'll know they don't like it. And the same thing goes with a watch. If you don't know how to put the perfect finish on it, and I didn't say perfect polish. A perfect polish is not always a perfect polish. And sometimes you have to set the customer up for what they're seeing. I can't tell you, in all the years I've been doing this, 35 years, I have had exactly one apprentice go on and continue in the business. All the rest of them quit me. Most of them because I tried to force them to learn how to polish stuff. They all wanted to be at the bench, restaffing a railroad watch or setting a diamond or sizing a ring. Or I'm like, no, there's no sense in you learning how to do any of that if you can't polish. Yep, Brian, it's true. All the best jewelers and watchmakers in the world will tell you this. If you don't know how to finish the job, there's no sense starting the job. And it is the most important part of the job, because it's an old cliche, but you never get a second chance to make a first impression. If the first impression on a watch or jewelry repair customer's face isn't one of astonishment and joy, you did something wrong. And it's usually the polish or the finish, I should say. All the rest of it is technical. The artistry comes in the polishing. The rest of it is craftsmanship. And craftsmanship is easy. All that takes is attention to detail. And I treat everything that I do the same way. It's like reselling. I use really good boxes. I do a really good job packing. I'll pull up my account right now, and you guys can read through my feedback. I have 100% feedback even after 25 years now. I have one and one only neutral from some moron. But yeah, it's you got to treat your customers right. And you need to wow them. And it's all about attention to detail and just going that extra mile to do it right. Let's see here. And polishing is the same. I don't care if you're polishing a diamond, if you're polishing a watch, or if you're polishing the paint job on a car. It's all the same. And I know we're getting off on a tangent. It's got nothing to do with reselling, but it's one of the passions in my life is polishing. And it's all about working with light. The light has to flow across different surfaces in different ways, and it needs to do so evenly. Like the facet on a diamond, the light has to hit it, and the entire facet has to light up all at the same time. It cannot ripple. Rippling in a finished product is bad. That means there's dips and valleys and hills and you didn't do it right. Yeah, and the longer they have to wait, the higher their expectation is for the finished product. It builds up, and then when you have been waiting for something, or you're paying a lot of money for something and it's getting delivered to you, when you lay your eyes on it, the only thing you should feel is joy. Your eyes should not be drawn to a single thing that you don't like. Christopher, I have seen some of those reels. Whew, guys, we have been on here for well over an hour now. And I'm not kidding when I tell y'all my sinuses are killing me. I have a bad sinus headache right now. My throat is sore. My eyes are all red and puffy. I think we're going to call it a night right here. I'm going to go take some sinus meds or something and drink a big glass of water and wait for that medicine to kick in. I'm going to get out here. I got work to do. And remember, Junk Monkey Live this coming week is going to be on Monday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So write yourself a note. I'll try to get on Instagram. And I know I promise this all the time and rarely ever do it, but I'll try to get on Instagram and remind everybody that Junk Monkey Live is from now on going to be on Monday nights. So I'll look forward to seeing you guys then. And if you don't mind, on your way out, hit that thumbs up for me. All right. Good night, and I appreciate every one of you.